Good evening, everyone. I'm Delegate Heather Mizeur, and I would like to thank Hearts and Homes for the honor of being your keynote speaker this evening. Your hard work and dedication to improving the lives of thousands of children is a daily reminder of the importance of selfless sacrifice and the need for community support and engagement. Obviously, we want to, and we will spend a good portion of this evening congratulating our honorees, including Scott and Patrice Brickman, Leon Harris, and Jack Fitzgerald. I am especially grateful to Jack for his help on a bill that we teamed up on last year to ask employers to notify their workers about their eligibility for the Earned Income Tax Credit. The EITC helps boost thousands of low-income families out of poverty by putting a little extra money in their pockets every year at no cost to the employers. And Jack and his Fitzgerald Auto Mall stepped forward as an eager and willing corporate partner on that bill, proving that business and government can work together for social change. And their voice in that discussion was instrumental in the bill's passage, so thank you for that, Jack. A round of applause is insufficient to recognize the hard work of Rex Smith, his staff, and the board of directors at Hearts and Homes for Youth, but we all do deeply appreciate your dedication to all of Maryland's children, so please give another round of applause to Rex, his team, and the board of directors. Thanks to all of you for being here tonight and sharing some portion of your time, your talent, and your treasure with this amazing organization. We are here to celebrate thousands of lives that have been transformed by the loving care and stability that is provided by Hearts and Homes for Youth. We're also here to renew our commitment towards creating a community where no child enters this world unprepared, unprotected, or uninspired. Watching children at play, we can lose ourselves in their innocence. Their boundless energy and imagination, it's always there to remind us that we should be more at play as well. A little princess spinning around in the living room with her tutu all a-twirl. A train conductor assembling his Thomas the Tank engines with exact precision for a spin around the tracks. The sandbox where many of life's lessons are discovered in the midst of digging, piling, shaping, and constructing the mind's creative constructs. Even walking a bicycle tire inner tube around in a circle with a stick becomes an imaginative toy and a plaything to a child when your imagination is set free. As adults, we try to protect this innocence of children for their sake and for our own. We understand at an unspoken level that we yearn for something that we have lost in the transition. Why don't we twirl anymore? What did we do with our trains? What happened to our sandcastles? Why do we only see a broken stick and a rotten old piece of bicycle trash? Because along the way we fell asleep. We've become so overwhelmed and exhausted by life's chores and obligations that sometimes we forget to live in our hearts. And it's time for an awakening. Why does this matter? What does this have to do with our charge tonight? We cannot give what we do not have. We cannot bring unconditional love to the life of a child if we do not first love ourselves unconditionally. We must win the ongoing battle between our heads and our hearts for the sake of these children and the Maryland we want them to benefit. Disconnected from our hearts, our heads get busy with making us human doings instead of human beings. We get focused on our tasks, our responsibilities, our stresses, and our fears. It's our head that tells us we're less than perfect and that sometimes we can't make a difference. But when we awaken ourselves and we connect to our hearts, we resonate with the love, the knowing, the truth, the interconnectedness, and the possibilities that reside there. When our hearts are engaged with our minds, we make choices about our day that seeks to serve our joys and our connections to each other. Our happiness quotient rises because we realize we are perfect just as we are. And all of life's answers are already inside of us. Let's start that awakening tonight. Let's serve our possibilities instead of our self-imposed limitations. Let's love ourselves and each other unconditionally so that we may give that gift to our precious children. Before this night is over, consider letting your wall down, getting to know each other's hearts, because every person here is powerful and full of light and amazing when we choose to honor it and let it shine. When we choose not to fear. When we choose to come together and take risks, to be vulnerable in our interconnectedness. Now more than any other moment in our lifetimes, our county, our state, our country, even our world asks us to stand up and transcend fear. To stand stronger for what is right and good and true, to illuminate what should be and what can be when we awaken to our limitless co-creative potential. This is how we take on big things and win, by realizing that playing small does not serve the world. The author Marianne Williamson gives us some words to consider. She says that our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be gorgeous and amazing, brilliant and beautiful? Who are you not to be? We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is inside of each of us. And when we allow that light to shine, we unconsciously give permission to everyone else to do the same. On a range of policy issues over the past several years, it has been the unrelenting, courageous shining of light from children that has advanced some of our major policy initiatives. One afternoon in 2006, Lorenzo Smith from Suitland, Maryland, was playing with friends after school in his neighborhood, just like any one of our kids might do. And what happened next, Lorenzo would never see coming. He would never see the car that hit him until he was on the pavement and his leg had been shattered. Amazingly, Lorenzo survived the crash, but 16 operations later, and at the age of 13, he had to have his right leg amputated from the knee down. Lorenzo and his mom, Albertha, are fighters. They knew having the gift of life and having each other is the most precious thing anyone could ask for. They knew the scars, even from the amputation, would eventually heal. So they figured Lorenzo would get a prosthetic leg and his life would be close to normal as possible. And they had insurance. Why wouldn't they think everything would be okay? Albertha pays the bills on time each and every month. Lorenzo needed a new leg, and that's what insurance is there for, right? To provide coverage when you need it most. Like many people with catastrophic health needs, unfortunately that lifeline didn't exist for Lorenzo entirely. At the time, our state laws allowed insurance companies to pay just half the cost of a prosthetic leg. That leg that would give Lorenzo greater mobility. His family was faced with an insurance bill that looked more like a down payment on a mortgage than a co-payment to a doctor's office. $20,000. And so Albertha was forced to organize community bake sales and walkathons to pay for Lorenzo's new leg. In the wealthiest state in the nation, with some of the best healthcare resources the globe has to offer, a Marylander with health insurance was forced to borrow and barter to make her son whole again. In 2009, with Lorenzo's help and stellar moving testimony that he brought to the General Assembly, we made the case on why Maryland needed a prosthetic parity act that prevented insurance companies from denying or limiting coverage for prosthetic devices, and we changed the law on Lorenzo's behalf because he let his light shine. In 2007, we passed a law allowing young adults under the age of 25 to remain on their family health plans, providing health and economic security to thousands of Maryland families. This law was later used as a model for similar coverage in Obamacare. But we didn't stop there. What about our foster children? They don't have family plans to rely on until they're age 25 or 26. Shalita O'Neill, a former foster care youth, came to partner with us to expand health insurance protections for our children who are aging out of foster care. Why should they, when they turn 18 years old and are transitioning at the most difficult time in their lives, should they fear losing their health insurance card at the same time? We've partnered together with Shalita's great testimony and perseverance, bringing together groups of foster care youth that wanted to have a future to hold on to and health care that would protect them. And we were able to expand coverage under Maryland state law for our foster youth to look more similar to every young adult who was protected under our plans. And Shalita is a successful young adult working in a foster care agency that she actually helped to found today. She's letting her light shine. When I first came into office in 2007, we found that 100,000 children were eligible for state-funded care, but they weren't signed up because their parents didn't realize that they were eligible. 11-year-old Marina Curlow came to Annapolis to help us change this. She testified how important health insurance is to let kids be kids. She talked movingly about how many of her classmates weren't able to play sports at school for fear of an injury that could bring their uninsured family to bankruptcy. Under Maryland's Kids First law, all families now report on their tax forms whether their kids have health insurance. And through the tax forms, we can immediately learn a family's income status as well as their children's health coverage status. And we are now doing rapid outreach and enrollment to these families right off the tax forms.